Have you ever looked at your finances and thought, I am so far behind from where I want to be with my money? You have debt, you're living paycheck to paycheck, your savings and investments aren't where you want it to be. You feel totally stuck. Let me brainwash you into wealth. I paid off over $35,000 and saved my first $100K at 26, and I was only earning around $60,000. If I can do it, you can too. If you are tired of the status quo with money and you want financial freedom, peace, and security, then this episode is for you. Your mind and your thoughts are very, very powerful tools. Give me a few minutes and I will brainwash you into building wealth. Why, hello, my yellow groupers. I'm Carly, a finance grad and the creator of Best Money Class Ever, where I teach how to pay off debt in 36 months or less, invest to retire a millionaire, and stress less about money. Grab a seat. I'm about to spill the financial tea. Are you ready for it? First off, we're going to talk about why you need to brainwash yourself to build wealth, how the media convinces us it is totally normal to stay broke for the rest of our lives, and 5 steps that you can use to brainwash yourself into building wealth. Why do you need to brainwash yourself into building wealth? This is not woo-woo or too new age positive vibes only. A little secret, money is not just numbers, it is psychological and behavioral. Personal finance is actually quite simple. If you just simply take your income minus your expenses and invest the difference, boom, everybody can be wealthy. So why is everybody poor and broke? It's often because of our thoughts with money. Let me explain. I am not a psychiatrist. I've done my fair share of therapy. I've learned that your thoughts lead to your actions. What you think over and over and over then correlates to what you do and how you act in real life. So for example, with money, if you tell yourself, man, I'm going to spend the rest of my life paying for the mistakes I made in college, in my early 20s, I'm going to have this debt forever, then that's probably what's going to actually happen. You're not going to take any steps to paying off your debt. You're probably going to add on more to your debt. Or if you think, I need to make more money to start investing. What you think about wealth and how you view money does matter. And those thoughts change how you act and manage your own money. For me, I did make horrible mistakes whenever I was in college. I took out student loans and a car loan. I owed the $35,000. I realized, hey, I don't want to have this debt forever. So I made a plan to pay everything off within 36 months. Even though I wasn't earning a huge salary, I also started investing. Was I investing thousands a month? No, I invested what I could, and that really did add up. Here's how the media convinces us that it's normal to be broke for the rest of our lives. In case you haven't realized, the news is often very negative. I graduated in December of 2008, conveniently when the entire financial market completely crashed. I did have a finance degree. There was the mortgage crisis, the stock market tanked, banks were failing. It was unheard of. And there was this huge backlash in the entire financial world. A lot of people at that time were like, oh my gosh, I'm freaked out by the stock market. I'm not going to invest my money. Let me hoard it in cash. All of those things at that time were very accurate. However, I didn't let that impact my personal life and how I manage my money. I wanted to pay off my debt and I wanted to invest. Nowadays, the same exact thing, you turn on the news and there is so much negative stuff going on. The narrative that we hear over and over, it is way harder to be an adult now. The cost of living is out of control. Debt and tuition for college has skyrocketed. Wages aren't keeping up with inflation. Everything's more expensive. Childcare, and all of those things are very much true. Back to psychology. One principle that I like is the internal versus external locus of control. The internal locus control is where you have control over the things that you have control over. So for example, we can't control that we happened to go to school when tuition skyrocketed. Whenever I graduated, I did things that a lot of times people aren't willing to do. I did haircuts, as in someone sprayed my hair with a water bottle and then literally cut it. I got a roommate, my internet, my utilities, my housing, all of that was cut in half. I meal prepped and grocery shopped with a list. I ate out only once or twice a week versus every day for lunch. And those little things were in my control and they really did make a difference. The external locus of control is the things in history and time that we actually have no control over. Yes, we acknowledge that those exist, but we really turn our focus on what we can do with the situation. Here are the 5 steps to brainwash yourself to build wealth. Step number 1 is you want to overcome denial. The problem with denial is you don't know that you're actually in it. So we're going to go over 3 signs that you are in denial. First, so what does denial in general look like? Denial is when you rationalize, minimize, or bargain and compare your financial situation to others. You might think, oh, my finances aren't aren't that bad and I owe just a few thousand. My friends owe way more on their credit card debt than I do. I'll make the money back. I might as well scooter around in Paris. I'm only 20 something once. Or I'll take a look at my debt and start investing when I get the next promotion and things calm down. Sign number one that you're in denial with money is you feel numb. Shopping maybe is your therapy. You make impulse buys for things you don't really actually need. The rush you get from that purchase quickly fades away, and then you feel remorse, guilt, shame, and further in debt. You feel paralyzed, stuck, and trapped. The second sign that you're in denial is lost energy. Even though you're trying not to think about your finances, your brain can't actually forget the reality. The bills still need to be paid. You're either stuck in the past, upset about the financial decisions that you already made, or you feel dread towards this uncertain future, and the result is anxiety. According to WebMD, financial anxiety takes a real toll on your body. This can lead to fatigue, nausea, stomach aches, and pain. The third sign that you are in denial is prolonged pain. Denying your finances is kind of like slowly ripping off the Band-Aid. It is going to be a constant struggle that is nagging at you. When you stay in denial, you rob yourself the opportunity and potential to grow and make a difference. Where you are right now doesn't have to last your lifetime. To overcome denial, you obviously have to just admit, hey, how things are right now with my money aren't how I want them to be. This is kind of a problem. Instead of having this head in the ground ostrich approach to managing money, you actually need to see exactly where you stand. How much do you owe in total with your debt? What is your savings right now? Have you invested anything? What's that current value? And then you do need to look at your spending. How much are you bringing in? What are your expenses going out? You can take your power back. My mantra is to become chief financial officer and manage your money like a boss. You have the promotion of a lifetime where money no longer rules you. You take your power back and gain that control. The second step to brainwash yourself to building wealth is to stop waiting. You constantly tell yourself, I'm going to do the dang thing. I'm going to get serious about my debt payoff. I'm going to get serious about investing. And this is the year I'm going to start saving money. And then promptly nothing happens. You're going to get your finances in order. You're sure of it. But things right now in this moment are a little bit hectic. You've got your best friend's bachelorette party. Dog needs a $5,000 surgery. You will figure things out when life calms down. But the reality is, I've learned the hard way, life never slows down. It's not the bachelorette party. It's not the dog surgery. It is procrastination. You are putting your life and financial future on hold. You deserve a life where you are not stressed about money and you feel secure. You probably heard the phrase time is money, but when it comes to your personal finances, there is a hard cost to waiting to get your finances in order. A quick exercise that you can do is find out exactly how much your debt is costing you right now. There's a back of the napkin rule of thumb. You'll take the total current balance that you owe and multiply it by the interest. For example, if you have $10,000 that you owe on a credit card with 24% interest, this year you would spend $2,400 in interest, which is 10,000 times 0.24. If you wait 1 year, you're going to be spending $2,400 in interest. If you wait 10 years, that's going to be $24,000. That is money going down the drain. On the flip side, when it comes to investing, the most important thing to do is start because of something called compound interest. A dollar saved now is going to be worth more later because of the interest earned over time. And interest is going to be earned from the principal, and interest, it is quite fascinating. I really think it's almost like a magical unicorn. Let's take a really quick example. Let's say that you want to be a millionaire by the standard retirement age of 65, and we're going to assume that you earn an 8% on your investment. If you start investing and you have 45 years to invest, you only need to invest $216 every month to reach that millionaire status. If you wait 10 years and start investing at age 30, you will have to invest twice as much for the rest of your life. Instead of investing $216 every month, you are going to have to invest $485. You really have to ask yourself, if you're not going to make a change now, when are you going to do it? If you're not going to do it now, chances are a year from now, things aren't going to be any different. As the saying goes, a year from now, you will wish you had started today. In my signature class, Best Money Class Ever, I had a newlywed couple, and when they married, they merged finances and they found $3,000 a month was going towards their debt. They had no idea where to start. He was an engineer and she had a corporate job. He ran 4 or 5 different spreadsheets on the best possible way to pay off debt and wondering what's the best strategy. They were waiting, and the indecision resulted in inaction. Before they knew it, time had passed and they made no progress with their money. They decided that they needed an unbiased third party to help them make a change. and to stop waiting. We worked together and the result was they paid off over $61,000 in 20 months. And her advice to you is have faith the change is going to work. Change is hard and scary. Once you're familiar with your new normal, it is no longer hard. If you're waiting and waiting, usually what happens is you will get to this tipping point. And the tipping point is the pain of what you're experiencing now with stress and anxiety and unexpected bills and all the things that are going on versus the perceived pain of doing something different. When the pain of how things are now is going to outweigh the pain of the perceived change of doing something different. The third step to brainwash yourself into building wealth is to get very, very clear on what exactly it is that you want. Have you ever sat down and wondered, like, what do I want my finances to look like? I was really fascinated by this Harvard business study on goals. They took a class of the Harvard MBAs and they asked them, have you set clear written goals with plans to accomplish them? 84% had no goals at all. 13% had goals, but they weren't actually in writing and no plan to achieve them. 3% had goals with written plans to achieve them. What happened 10 years later was crazy. They went back to those same graduates and followed up. The 13% who had goals but weren't in writing with a clear plan were earning twice as much as those who did not have any goals at all. The 3% that had goals written down with clear plans to achieve them were earning 10 times as much as the other 97% combined. Luckily, I was a college student when I heard this, and I went over to my local Ross and immediately got myself a journal, and I was like, all right, if this is what it takes, have at it. And I just started writing out, and I literally wrote out as a sophomore in college, save $100K after graduation. That's what I decided that I really, really wanted. There are a lot of reasons as to why I wanted that. I wanted to have a sense of financial freedom. What we call this now is coast fire. When you save a certain amount, you can just let your money coast and compound interest does the heavy lifting. I did a full episode on exactly how that works. I challenge you to get clear, like, what do you want your financial life to look like? Write it down. The fourth step to brainwash yourself to building wealth is this mentality, if they can do it, why not you? Here's something that I really want you to hear and soak it in. There are people that are making less than you with fewer resources, a less fancy degree, who don't have it all figured out. They're still paying off debt and investing and building wealth. Why not you? They're doing this not because they're smarter than you, not because they're more disciplined, but just simply because they actually have a plan with their money. You deserve to feel confident, organized, and totally in charge of your money. Those things that you want, other people are getting them, so why not you? Another way to look at this is there's that phrase of whether you think you can or you can't, you are right. If you think you can invest, if you think you can have financial freedom, then you can. But if you're like, this isn't gonna happen, I'm just kind of stuck, I'm gonna stay this way, that's what's probably gonna happen. The fifth step to building wealth is to do something different. As the saying goes, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. If you want to pay off debt, I hate to break it to you, but you're gonna have to manage your money a little bit different. If you want to invest, how are you going to do that? A fairy godmother is not going to come and just start investing. You need to learn the basics of how to invest, like how an IRA is versus a 401k plan, traditional versus Roth, how the stock market works, what you're actually going to invest in. And I know that investing can kind of feel like a foreign language, but hey, you need to carve out a little bit of time to learn and understand the basics so your money can actually start working for you. For example, whenever I graduated college, I kind of sat down and just had this moment of like, oh my gosh, I had my car payment, I had my student loans. Together, I was paying about $700 every single month towards debt. And I was just like, I don't want to do this again. I was like, how am I going to make sure in the future, if there is a big purchase, even a big one like buying a car, how can I avoid taking on new debt? When you do something different with your money, this rewires your brain, sparks creativity, and builds momentum. For example, if your routine is just, I'm going to swipe my credit card, however much I make, I'm just going to kind of spend. I don't really know where my money is going. I don't know. Have that basic realization like, okay, something's got to give, right? If you want new results, you're going to have to try something new. And if you're not exactly sure and you don't know what you don't know, you are invited to join with me, Best Money Class Ever. Best Money Class Ever is my live and virtual 4-week personal finance class. Think of me as your personal finance consultant to help you get the results that you want with your money. Together in 1 month, I will show you how to transform your finances. Enrollment is officially open and it only happens every so often. And this will probably be the last time class is available for this year. If you want in, head on over to bestmoneyclassever.com or in the description below. I fully believe that wherever you are right now doesn't have to last a lifetime. I turn things around, and I fully believe that you can too. You don't need to earn a six-figure salary, and you don't need to deprive yourself. During my debt payoff journey, I traveled. I live in Austin, Texas. I was going out with friends, hanging out on 6th Street. You can be good with money and enjoy life now too. I really believe all you need is a financial education and a solid plan. As a recap, I want you to overcome denial and admit, hey, this is an area that I don't really know much about, and I don't really like how things are. This is kind of a problem area. The next thing is just to stop waiting. Realize that time truly is money. Do the exercise and see, like, oh my gosh, how much is my debt costing me? Or waiting a year or 2 years, that's going to have a rippling effect on my retirement. Like, now is really the best time, right? Don't put your future on hold, and get clear on what it is that you really want. I had that moment where I wrote it down, a simple goal, save that first 100K. That was very clear, and realized truly, like, if I can do it, you can too. There's nothing special or crazy that I did. You can literally steal my exact strategy with money. You're gonna have to do something a little bit different. I am really curious, and I would love to hear from you. How can you brainwash yourself to wealth? Do you believe that your thoughts influence your actions? How have you seen your thoughts influencing your financial actions? What is it that you're telling yourself about money? Do you agree with me that media will convince you that it's negative news and then you're just going to be broke forever? Let me know. Spill your financial tea. Leave me a comment if you are watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify. Thank you so much, my yellow groupers, for listening. Every show has a dope name that they are calling their listeners. I'm calling you my yellow groupers. We have slow starts. We get off track. We get behind. We get knocked down. Life does not go as planned. The cards are stacked against us. The hands we are dealt are not ideal, but we don't ever give up. That is where our grit is born. Our trials, our adversities, that is what makes us stronger. Did you like this episode? If so, make sure to like it and subscribe, and share it with your friends who geek out over personal finance. If you are listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure and follow and leave me a review. If you've been meaning to get your finances in order, now is the time, and this is the best place to start. Here, you'll overcome analysis paralysis with the finance plan. This is the roadmap that you've been looking for to pay off debt and invest, even if you have no idea where to start and you're living paycheck to paycheck. Are you tired of figuring this money stuff out on your own? You don't need to spend a lifetime stressed about money. You can turn things around in a month, and I will show you exactly how. Best Money Class Ever, my live and virtual personal finance class, starts soon. Think of me as your personal finance consultant to help you get the results that you want. Want in? Head on over to bestmoneyclassever.com or the link below to save your spot. As always, remember, you only live once. Be smart with your money now. I will catch you later. Bye.